The furious flames of Inferno would engulf the second map of the series, and it seemed to be written in the stars for Astralis after a dominant CT side. It all is coming down to Vertigo, and we wouldn't have it any other way to be rounding out this Danish derby. Maui and Blair join me to be breaking this one down. And Blair, I think we've got to start this segment by giving some credit to Device to start this one off. A man we didn't even acknowledge in our post-game segment after Nuke, just because we were so enthralled by Stavn's performance there.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, the guy definitely did show up today. And bear in mind, it's been 2 maps played so far, and Device has 58 kills. We're not done yet with the series, so he could be having one of those series as well. He was fantastic overall. I feel like, especially on the T side as well, everyone is showing up. And one thing I just want to touch upon is also that B bomb site hole from Heroic. That was kind of rough. Out of the 9 rounds that they won on the T side for Astralis, 7 of them came in on that B bomb site, which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous. Mario, I know you had a particular round that you wanted to be breaking down for the viewers at home here from Inferno.
Yeah, so this kind of just shows the level of comfort between both of these teams. We're actually going to be going to the stats helix, it looks like. And so this is round 10-6. We can see the buy there for Heroic, just some pistols, and they're working with an arch play to start things off. So we can see that the contact will be made against Esatag there, who they find the kill on. But watch how Heroic adapt to this. They take over the CT control, and watch how Cadian, Borup, and Nico just kind of hold on to this side over here. They recognize the reaction from Astralis will be this push towards the porch side, and they're able to find the kills on the players that aggress towards porch, and they run back towards this A bomb site. Even though they didn't win that half, it just shows how they even know the type of reactions that Astralis are going to have in these kinds of rounds. So we're going to watch the kills here, opening pick onto Esatag, and then Cadian just lying in wait along with his teammate Borup, and they're able to find those aggressing Astralis players. So we can see that the level of comfort between these two teams, the mind games are really strong here. They both understand the reactions, the beginning of rounds, everything going on between both teams. It's really great Counter-Strike, and a lot of it is prefaced on the fact that these teams have played each other many times now, and it's really exciting to watch.
Exactly, and going into our third and final map, Blair, this is definitely going to be a map that they're familiar with each other's playstyles on, as of course this kicks off the entire tournament here at DreamHack Open for 4 overtimes in this very map to be starting their series off. So I'm wondering what your expectations are of these teams coming into it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's full circle, right? We were talking about this earlier before we went live. It started off with these two teams facing off in Vertigo. 52 rounds played, where it was Astralis stealing the win away. At the end, Heroic would definitely be looking forward to, getting the revenge here. I think it's going to be very fitting if they do manage to take this series by winning in Vertigo. But one thing I feel Heroic need to fix is the fact that they get the opening kills. They won, I think, 14. They got 14 opening kills in that map. Astralis got 10. And yet they lost in a pretty convincing fashion of 16-8, 16-9, right? So that's something they need to work on. You get the man advantage. You can't allow Astralis back into the map, into the round rather, after that. And if they can fix that, maybe they stand a chance here in Vertigo.
I think also one more important thing we need to note about the last time they played on Vertigo, Maui, is the fact that Cadian was popping off again. We're seeing him being very confident here, but Stavn was actually bottom of the scoreboard for that very map. And we've seen him really coming into fruition as a player, so I'm wondering your thoughts about him going into this one.
Yeah, Stavn, he definitely, you can expect that he'll do better than last time, but one thing is that Dupree and Cadian were kind of going back and forth as the big heavyweight punchers for both of those teams. Device did have a good rating in that game, but he didn't feel like he really had the ultimate impact that he's having today. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Stavn and Device both play in this one for me, and hopefully they both. Okay, well, we got a little peek into what Device was doing there. Okay, Device is popping off, surely. This is 100%.
This is it. Look
He's
at
going to
it.
ascend.
No eye contact.
This is more impressive than seeing Device play in this series. Look at that dog there, doing the pure tricks. Hopefully that's what's bringing Device luck in this series. And with that, we can throw it to our third and final map of this series. It comes full circle as we'll be heading into Vertigo after this.
two titans of Danish orientation have clashed, and it comes down to the wire. For the second time at the DreamHack Open 4, we head to Vertigo between Astralis and, of course, their counterparts of Heroic. And if the last time is anything to go by, Tom, this could be another crazy game, because that went to, 28-24, I believe? So many overtimes. We've already had an overtime this best of 3. Who's to say we won't get more?
Yeah, I guess if you're Vitality watching on, you're just going, I don't want to play either of these teams in the final. Like, both of them have had phenomenal plays. We've seen Dupree and Device killing it on one side, Cadian alongside Stavn in prior map stepping up. This is going to be a banger. One team takes it all, the loser takes the fall. And while that's definitely not something we want to see going into Vertigo. No more Zen-like plays. Thank you very much. Now, we are going to have a battle for the ramp, something I'm sure I'll say many a time within this map, a constant point of contention, and if you can dominate it, the chances are you're going to win this map. However, neither side were able to do that the last time around. Now, with no Molotovs invested this time, Tag might just get free roam from the sandbags, but the fact is it seems like Heroic are maybe playing with their opponents a bit here. They've shown face over on A, and now they go back to mid.
No kits on Astralis. They also have read this perfectly. They rotate into position. Tess tagged down to 5. Storm going in, spinning around, trying his best to tank all the bullets and absorb them for the rest of his team. But in the blink of an eye, Dupree and Device, alongside Essetag, lay the round to rest. Lay Heroic bare. And they don't even have a bomb plant to play off.
I've actually got something I would like to see if we can get as like a statistic, because I don't know about you, Vince, but I feel like every single pistol round has been a clear CT win. Like it just seems like they've been really dominant in the CT's favor. There's been at least like 2 or 3 that I feel like have just been like that, like 4 or 5 players surviving for the CT side and not a single kill coming in for the Ts.
Yeah, I think I'd have to echo that sentiment, honestly. It does definitely feel that way. Whether Astralis can capitalize on that and win the subsequent round here, it is against the fully forced Heroic. They have Tech 9s, they have Deagles. We know just how prolific these guns can be in the right hands, and the Danes they're up against certainly are up to that task. Cadian drilling into the head of Device after he gets the opener. That's labored from Essetag, but he's not really punished. Still 100 HP left. Flashbang is good. Essetag running out of ammunition, switches to the USP, and still claims the round for Astralis. Only 2 losses, and considering that was a forced buy for Heroic, that's not a bad outcome for the CTs.
Yeah, they do lose a rifle along the way, which is definitely not ideal in those sort of rounds, but as you mentioned, there's not so much of a payback, if anything, for Heroic. It's not like they're coming into this one with AK-47s and they have the chance to reset the economy, unless they pull off something very impressive indeed. I like the nade stack. Unfortunately, this time there's absolutely no one there, and Device is going to be chilling out. In fact, the nade damage in response is conclusive. This round is done. Cadian, a kill would be nice.
That's all he could really hope for. 2 weakened targets, but he will not get the chance to do damage to either of them. Glaive will bodyguard his teammates, and Heroic, with only 2 kills in 3 rounds, now come back with AKs to try and change that statistic up. Will be full AK purchases. They had the opportunity for a glass cannon AWP, but this is Vertigo T side. You definitely do not need the AWP to make it work.
This round is as good as a bonus round as you're going to get in Counter-Strike nowadays. Only damage done, though, to the members of Astralis. Again, it's an all-out brawl on the ramp, and this time, well, Espeg, at the moment, is the only survivor, and he does not last long. It is a flawless take, an almost flawless take, as Device will at least dunk out one. He's been superb throughout this series, but this might be a bridge too far, although Tess has slightly caught out. They've managed to retain at least the site, but the fact is the T's might just decide to fall off this one. Look at Nico. Sure, 3 ADR. Not what you want in Counter-Strike, but he has got them so much information.
Rapid headshot. Tessis obliterated in an instant. Cadian.
Oh, not again.
We have, I think it was Zen fell off, didn't he? Fell to his death
that
earlier in the
exact
tournament.
spot.
It is a really, really dirty off angle that it's hard to actually check, especially if time is running low. So it is worthwhile that Cajun's made the moves in, but Nico has removed the head of device. And so Cadian's position probably will not go into any kind of murky waters. He won't get tested. Dupree likely will just save the AK. And behind that save, they can get a very solid buy, including an AWP if they so choose.
I'm really hoping that Cadian isn't a scroll wheel jumper. Because could you imagine like sneaking into that angle and just knocking your scroll wheel and flying off the map?
Terrorists win.
Another win for the spacebar gang. In other words, people who don't know how to b-hop like me. Well, either way, it's not the end of the world. Heroic may have got themselves one on the board, but as mentioned, that was a bonus. That was just a little bit of a fun round for Astralis to play. Now they get the real investment. Device back onto his AWP, the true force of the Double D Terror in action, as Dupree's actually got himself an AK-47 as well. Cadian, again, it's this brute force fight. Magisk will at least trade the kill onto Estag, who over the last few rounds has been caught a couple of times now. This battle hasn't been too successful, but Magisk, well, more ammo in the clip, and maybe that's a double. Instead, he falls, and the T's are more than happy with the trades in this early stage.
Early trades means plenty of time still on the clock in favor of Heroic. And in a 3v3, looking to conquer the divided Astralis. Thinly spread, it is Dupree, who finished Inferno in classic Dupree fashion with a deagle by his side. A true joy to cast moments like that between these two teams. We've had plenty of them, Tom. We've really been very fortunate. But are there more in the tank for Astralis? Are there more big moments in this best of three yet? Stavn, not fragged, but heavily tagged, and that grenade banking off the wall nearly finishes him off. More damage inflicted, but Dupree is coming under heavy duress. And eventually he crumbles alongside Glaive, who did get one just before he was put 6 foot under. And Device has to go in. A 1v2. Oh, they so nearly lined up for the collateral, but instead he misses both of them. 15 seconds left. Misses another shot. That probably cost him his life, but indeed it does. It has to be frustrating. You can see he knew he was just a few millimeters off from pulling that out of the fire, but it doesn't work.
See, the funny thing about that is you don't know what Tesses was doing there. Like, he could have flipped him off. He could have just been, like, putting up his hand for a high five. You can't see. That's the mystery that is Tesses. Well, he's a mystery to Astralis in this round as he brings one home for his squad. Had a bit of a quieter series. In fact, Stavn, in the last map, may have had his first bad map of the entire tournament. After a few frustrating rounds, it seemed like he didn't really perform to the level that we've come to expect of him. Then again, it was hard to with how well we saw the Astralis players performing in the last. This round, though, unfortunately, is a no-show. Nothing invested in Heroic after what was a little bit of a slow start. They're going to be cleaning this one up. Glaive at least earning an extra $300 off the back of the kill, and Dupree, he's having a little jaunt. Wander around, hoping to find somebody to hand him a free AK-47. Although if he gets this kill onto Nico, I'm going to be questioning if he has some interesting programs installed on his computer, because this is not an angle you check regularly.
Did check
Dupree
all of
does,
his
though.
angles. Yeah, he does. He was looking towards the ramp at first and then decided better of that, but ultimately couldn't get the deagle down range. And after what he did on Inferno, I was believing in him in that 1v1. Doesn't work out for him, though. And Heroic, after going 3-0 behind with no bomb plant, have now bounced back in for 3 apiece. As is so often the case with Heroic, you often see these sprees of like lost rounds into wins themselves. They never fully seem like they're out of the fight.
Dupree is that solo B player, of course, with the mid position now available. The rotations can be fairly quick. He's been spotted, though. They know his position, and this Molotov's going to force him into the open, but he manages to cross. Glaive actually sacrifices himself to try and save Dupree, but from what we've seen so far from this man, it might be a worthy trade. The fact is, though, Device, he's trying to re-aggress. They've lost the man he wanted to save them. Instead, he's put them in an even worse spot than before.
Next attack now. Flames behind him, Flames ahead of him. In an island of security for now, decides that he doesn't want to feel safe. He wants to take the fight to the tees. And a flurry of action sees him fall, but doing a lot of damage on his way out. Astralis still trailed by a player, but in all of that confrontation, they forced the tees over towards the A side of the map, the B side of the map, pardon me. And Dupree has culled the first. Smoke gets put down, 30 seconds to play with. And Dupree decides to actually edge out of B and go through middle. So both he and Magisk may elect to try and retake the site together as a cohesive force.
Taking their time to clear out the back of the site, but the fact is, the afterplant will be allowed. No kits for the remaining players of Astralis, so they've got to move quickly. Baruch might be for free, but if anything, Dupree might just stand on his head. He's completely missed him. And Magic's coming in from the same angle. It's the same spot. He killed both of them, just sat down, waiting patiently. It's almost like he was too adorable, sat down there to kill, so they let him be. Baruch with a triple closing out this round. Well, I feel like Astralis have got to be kicking themselves. How does he get two? He didn't even move.
The only thing I can think of is that the HE was tossed in from generators, and maybe it masked the vision, so it kind of messed with the sound cue and the vision, and they assumed that the player was on generators. Otherwise, yeah, I'm right alongside you. I don't understand that at all. Maybe anticipating that Baruch was looking on CT side, I wouldn't still be watching ramp, but whatever the reason, it doesn't change the outcome. Astralis now, after a flawless start, have lost the last 4, and they trail in a half-buy round. Money won't be as much of an issue with round loss bonus accruing nicely, but it's rounds themselves that are becoming short supply. HE backed off the wall. Oh, that's a lot of damage onto Baruch and Nico. The Deagle can't finish either of them off, but now 3. Make that 4 players. Move into position. After Dupree lost his life, a tsunami of liquid fire envelops the site. And Device gets sprayed up through the smoke. Testis making sure that all those angles are covered and dealt with accordingly. And although there were a couple of moments of uncertainty, it seems like Heroic now have secured themselves a 5th round.
Interested to see what is actually the plan here. Maybe Magist, although as depressing as it might be, might just be looking to try and save some Kevlar into the next round. Hasn't taken any damage, so it would be a much cheaper upgrade, of course. Just the $350 instead of the full 1,000. If he can keep it without taking a point of damage, which, honestly, if you're Heroic here, unless you're just trying to really crush Astralis' confidence, which I want to say, I don't even know if that's possible. Like, you're almost just playing with fire, attempting that. There's no reason to hunt this kill down. Like, the man has nothing. He's got no weaponry. For all you know, he may not even have armor. So they are just going to let him live. So a slight win, I guess, for Magisk, but ultimately in that round, it is a clean one for Heroic. Exactly what we want to be seeing, and more interestingly, thus far, 5 rounds in a row now for Heroic on the T side.
After a dominant Inferno win, Astralis having all the key members, all the pieces of the puzzle really falling into place nicely. But as ever, Heroic don't care. The masters of their own fate. Nico got baited in with the early spray, and then Dupree will finalize the kill. Double AWPs have been elected. Astralis tweaking their strats a little bit. I'm not sure if the double ops will yield a great deal, though, once the full-on execute comes into A site. Device not perched up in the back room, instead is playing up close on the boxes. Peering into side, HE lands on his head. There's a Molotov, forces him out of position. 55 HP lost, purely off utility. But he has spotted one player before the smoke fully plumes and denies vision. S-Attack through the smoke into Burrock. 3 players stacked at the back of the site, and this post plant, although Heroic will be able to retreat back into good positions, judging from how much utility there is, and they have a kit, it is looking like it will be a difficult ask for them to hold it. So Cadian plays up close. He knows they have to do something risky. They have to roll the dice, gamble, hope for the best. It could be a back-breaking moment for Astralis, but Cadian continues to push forward. He still has so much HP. He's playing with the minds of all of Astralis, but finally he will fall on his sword. Such a nice try, but Astralis, they break the 5-round rot.
It comes fairly close in the end as well, with no kit available for Device, but there was another one at hand. It really felt like Cadian might actually have been able to do that, which is quite terrifying considering all the other players were dropped relatively easily by Astralis. But that is one way to come back to form. They save a few guns along the way. The money's not going to be bad for them. But the fact is the bombardment from their Danish counterparts is not going anywhere anytime soon. They've got enough money for the next one, and maybe even the one after that. And well, definitely enough for this round. Device, though, this is where he tries to get aggressive once again, although after not being able to find anything initially, just opts to fall back. This battle for ramp has not been one that's been too successful for Astralis so far, and their retake in the last round was fantastic. Here comes the push once again, though. Baruch looking to try and lead the charge. He's done well with the entries. Another one comes up to his name, but Device is there for the trade. The juggling of weapons doesn't work out for him, and Glaive just runs in to the man that is Tessus. S-Tag with a quick trade will keep it even. The fact is, it's even into a retake.
HP is pretty even as well. 30 HP advantage to Heroic. Minimal, negligible at best. Trade out to the AWP for Cadian. AK on Tessus. Smoke's now being deployed back onto the site. Cadian peeking back in, protruding around the corner. He's hungry. He wants this round. He wants that momentum to quickly snap back into shape. It's only Astralis' first in 5. Cadian, flick on to Dupree, a freebie, they're going for the defuse in a much.
No!
Oh no! He may even get this, but Cadian whips out the Glock. Glock blocks S-Tag down while defusing, and it will be 6-4.
It might be a smile on his face, but I don't think I've ever seen a more evident nervous smile than that. It takes a Glock headshot, and I will be honest, I saw him switch to the AWP, and I was like, I don't know about that. That seems like a bit of an interesting one going into an after plant. This was a stat that, again, it was mentioned on the desk. Stavn in the first map was 11-0 in opening duels. And as I said, he was unbelievable. It was a fantastic performance from him. But again, in map number 2, things didn't quite go his way. We saw some frustration on the cams. And in this map, he's a bit slow to start, although his teammates are definitely there to pick up the slack. S-Tag, always been someone who I've raved about on this map. He was someone who practiced a lot of the wall bangs you'll see initially, and a lot of teams have adopted. He's currently top fragging. Bear in mind, this is the man they're removing. The nade might even finish off, and it's actually just a fade away tap through the smoke that kills off the second member of Astralis. They've wanted map control, they've wanted ramp control for nearly this entire map, and they are not getting it once.
And to add another pretty miserable element to that, they're lacking economic control. Their financial situation is slipping away from them. They need a hero play, and we know that Dupree has them by the bucket load. Flashes not affecting him. The spray is labored. He gets punished, and Tessus springs into action for a 3K. And with those 3 kills and the site falling, being plundered by Heroic, Well, Device just has to save onto that AWP. There's nothing else that he can really do. Heroic are in great shape now, Tom, to pick up a ton of rounds on this T half.
Well, yeah, and we've been mentioning players. We've mentioned Cadian, we've mentioned Stavn, but the fact is, maybe Teslas wasn't the hero we wanted, Vince. But he was the one we needed. You could say, if anything, he's the Dark Knight.
Who would be the Joker in that case?
I don't know. Who was it who did it was Spiddy. Spiddy did the smile, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. We've got the full storyline. For anybody who doesn't get that awful joke, it's because Teslas is currently sat in, complete darkness. So that was my attempt at an awful joke. Enjoy that one. I felt like it would fill the lull, the match a little bit.
I love that production had you back as well. They knew what you were going for. There you go. That's what he's talking about.
I appreciate you, DreamHack. I'm sure there are plenty of people in this point writing cringe, but I am both disgusted at myself and also proud at how bad that joke is.
He's embraced it fully. Dupree embracing the Deke, but it is a cruel weapon. Very much work against you. Glaive does get a 1 Deke, but it may be too little too late. Testis has been tagged down significantly. Stavn has a great position. The spray reflecting it with 2, but Device with the saved AWP at least makes it work for 1. Whether he can escape or not is yet to be seen. I would be surprised if he goes for this, considering he has no kit. There isn't really a reasonable or realistic chance of getting this one done, so he will pull the plug. That means regardless of what happens from this point forward, Heroic will lead through into the second half. Anything at this stage is a nice juicy bonus on top.
Yeah, and although we talk about this map like relatively in terms of like, okay, you can get a lot of rounds on the T side, statistically it's one that is very, very close. Like, the fact that they've already won the half is a good sign, and Tessa's executing Device, and he has a long fall down. And while that might just be what we talk about with Astralis at this point. Bear in mind, Vince, we have not seen Heroic in the lead, like, until the very end of maps. The first one, they were 13-5 down, and they managed to come back. The second one, I think there were points where we were looking at them being 12-7 down, and they never made that comeback. We're in the third one, they're guaranteed a victory going into this first half. And I think that worries, well, me as much as it worries Astralis, as we're seeing a tactical timeout. Bear in mind, they won the pistol, they won round 2 and 3. So since then, Astralis have won just 1 round. And the point I want to highlight is it's actually the way they won that round, Vince. It was the 1 round they didn't challenge for ramp at all. They actually retook the site in pretty much a 5v5. Like, they got some early picks to make it a 3-on-5, but they didn't necessarily fight the ramp. I wonder if that might have to be the play. It was something that Team Liquid did in some of the early stages of this map. When their players were on point, they played retake A. It's not advisable, but if fighting the ramp isn't working, it might have to be the thing you go for.
Yeah, adjustments need to be made, and perhaps this is the adjustment they were looking for. Mage's Ganesha tag taking aggression, but it's more controlled and subdued. They don't fully invest behind it. And test this out into the open. Will be caught by the Molotov of Glaive. One of the better starts that Astralis have really had in, I mean, really since the beginning of the map. They were 3-0 up. Since then, it's been 8-1. And it looks like they'll be getting a 5th round. Although Stavn does have the bomb under control. Did get slightly tagged by that Molotov. Has that given his position away? I believe it has. They know exactly where he is. Living on borrowed time, and they do collect.
No, it's pretty much exactly the adaptation I mentioned. It's lovely to see it from Astralis, always with their finger on the pulse. And sure, it was a very fast take from Heroic, so we don't know if in the latter stages of the round, Astralis might have actually gone back to fight the ramp anyway. It's impossible to say because we didn't see it happen. But they play more passively, and Glaive does fantastically well with the timing of his peaks. This one, though, not so good. Dupree is already gone. Nico has done a good job of holding down that B site. It's something that is always troublesome for many teams on this map when facing off against Heroic, is that he is always there. Whether they're taking towards B or not, Nico will be lurking.
Bit of respite for the players, a bit of a reprieve, not having any chaotic action, nothing scrappy about this, more orthodox. Looking to make the most of their early pick. Well-timed incendiary. Only Burrup sprays out, doesn't really give Astralis too much intel or reads, and they've already tossed in a lot of their utility. They're looking to try and take control over ramp now. They're coming in a little bit later. Esitag takes a grenade, but so does Burrup and Nico. Whatever Astralis have received, they've given out just as much. They will not check the sandbags. This position could be so massive. Esitag just has to wait, but he only gets one. They check it late, but they do get it done. And now Glaive holds zone for 3 triple sprays. Beautiful play from Glaive. And that should be the round-determining moment. That should be the round going the way of Astralis after conceding the first. Glaive goes down to the hand of Cadian. 2 players left alive, and Magisk strikes from above.
That's 2 rounds now, the exact same spot for Glaive, and he's won them back-to-back rounds. It's the man that we normally talk about leading in the more passive sense. For the last couple, he's been bringing them back with his individual form, and I do like it. Again, the adaptation from Astralis is not to fight the ramp so aggressively. They were losing so many opening duels there. Sure, they even lose an opening duel on the B site in this round, but their passive A defense has been so much better. And hey, an 8-7, it's not a bad half. Even a 9-6 is a good resurgence. The worry I had was if we saw double digits come up for Heroic, which, hey, moments ago was a real possibility. Up to the last 2 rounds, we'd only see 1 buy-round victory from Astralis, so I didn't quite have faith in their CT side just yet. However, Heroic, they still have a buy. They've got the AWP utility missing a little bit, but ultimately, they are still a massive threat.
Oh, the threat certainly lingering. Both teams giving everything they have, getting late into the night. Heroic have been playing since morning for these guys. Astralis sat back and watching the first best of 3 take shape, I'm sure. Noting down some ideas. Now Heroic with 40 seconds. They have 4 players over on A. Or B, pardon me. But they haven't fully pushed in just yet. Flashbang doesn't really affect Dupree whatsoever. And that's the freest of kills that he could really ask for. He's drawn away the fire to allow Glaive to show his hand on the pillar, but he's sprayed out. Dupree with a wall bang onto Cadian. 15 seconds to go. The T's need to get on the site, but Dupree's AWP is far too potent, far too deadly. Second half will read 8-7 in favor of Heroic. Stay tuned. The players' skills have been tested over the duration of this best of 3, but now we're getting to the point where mental resolve could be the difference maker. Victory just around the corner, the grand finals just around the corner, and Astralis, actually not fully content with their planning, will go in for a tactical timeout. This is not something you see very often.
Yeah, they've just had 3 minutes, unless this is a tactical toilet pause and somebody's a little bit late to the party, but considering they've only got a couple of pauses left, this is bold. I don't know if they're just letting Heroic stew for a little bit longer. Like, you know what, you guys can wait for us. We'll tell you when we're ready. You might be the rising stars, but we're still the big boss around here. The fact is, one team after this half, unless we go overtime, of course, is out. The other faces off against Vitality in the grand final to go for the big boy RMR points, the Pro Tour points, and some dosh.
So much on the line. It's been many days of Counter-Strike. The teams have battled through thick and thin, ups and downs, ebbs and flows. Both these teams have lost games. But now, which of them can stand tall when it really, truly counts? Testis, missing his shots, gets punished, but not with his life at least. Tag decides, screw this, I want to try and push the smoke before deciding better of that choice. He backs away to join the rest of the troops on ramp. Stavn has gone in for 1, but they've also conceded Cadian. The HP, though, does favor Astralis. But of course, there's no way of them knowing this.
Might have an inkling now of a free kill onto Tessa. It's a bold position to be holding on low HP, and a smoke banked off the wall. Down, hoping for a miracle through the smoke. He still hasn't come back after Inferno. He's someone we've relied on throughout this series, and Nico straight through the smoke. He's going to pick one off. He did well in the first half over on B. He's kept things even for now. Fact is, though, any rotation here, that would be a long one. In fact, a little bit of hunting seemingly coming in. Maybe some smokes being picked up by Nico. He's going to line it up and throw one right over to try and give them a little bit of presence back onto the bomb. Now, the kit is actually in a horrible position. It makes Testis' peak even more risky, but Verup not only gets a kill, but he's grabbed the kit. The man might have just won the round for the team. It's left all onto Dupree. He's sticking the bomb. 2 kills come up. He doesn't get the third. Verup, that is a mammoth play. Not only does he get 2 kills, but he steals the kit from under Astralis' nose.
When that defuse kit was dropped inside, I thought this round was going the way pretty comfortably in favor of Astralis. I said it's all about mental resolve, but it's about grit. It's about how much do you want this? And Heroic, they're hungry. They will not be satiated with just a couple of kills. They want this map. They want this best of 3, and they're getting aggressive, taking Astralis out of their comfort zone, out of their element. Watch for this more in the future as well. We didn't see Astralis do plays like this too often on their CT side. By and large, they gave up ramp once it stopped working for them. And although Borup's gone in for 1, he's coming under heavy fire from AKs and nades, and that Molotov could finish him off. He'll have to move in, but now Cadian rips around the back of them, takes down the frag onto Mages, turns fire onto the stairway, and forces back the T's. Test is taking this opportunity to get up close to the MP9. And if they're not careful, they'll walk into the trap. Heroic have done a great job of fending off the T aggression.
Such a filthy position from Stavn. It nets him a kill, but the fact is, I have just paved a path for them onto this site. The rotation's quick. Glaive still has a rifle. Cadian peeks in. I think he was meant to be cannon fodder. Instead, he manages pick off his opponent. S-tag though, this is tasty. 2 deegs, but he doesn't expect Cadian as the snake in the grass. 3 kills for the IGL. Smiles back on his face as they take a further lead. And now, all eyes go back over to Astralis. They did well in the pistol round. It came very, very close. The second, though, was a big investment. That was a lot of AKs thrown up in this round. And, well, 2 of them now sit in enemy hands.
Astralis plummet into poverty. just pistols and the one kit. Not much to support this. And Testis, he was definitely hanging by a thread for a moment when Device was peeking through that smoke. Wasn't far off connecting the headshot, but it's just the crispy aim of Heroic that is shining bright. And Astralis only have Glaive standing, only one lost player, one casualty of war. And even though the battles have gone back and forth, the overall war is still open for debate. But it is Heroic that are waving the flag a little bit higher for the time being. Glaive, plenty of time left, has the bomb. Just by waiting a little bit longer, he could have maybe divided Heroic and done something special, but Nico's M4 up to the task and delivers the headshot without any issues at all.
I think the real depth of the Heroic roster is being shown in this match. We've hyped up Stavn many a time. We've mentioned even Tessis and Cadian. But the fact is, my stars of the show at the moment is looking like Barup. He was winning so many opening duels for them in the first half. I looked at a point and he was 4-0. He then clutches out the pistol in more ways than one. The retrieval of the kit was enough. The fact he got 2 kills on the way is ridiculous. But this is where the going gets tough. Sure, they had a few extra AKs coming into the second round force-up, but this time they had 5. There's still a few pieces missing here for Heroic. A round that, sure, they have some money to spare going into the next, but it wouldn't be the prettiest of buys if they were to lose this one.
Oof. Essetag and Dupree feeling worse for wear after those grenades. Trade out, Barup with another opening pick. That will be his 6th. And now Storm had a bit of a slow game again, but his AWP will reign true. Glimmers, glimpses of the train performance where AWPs came into quick succession. Cadian's MP9 elsewhere on the map, and they've lost Tessis at the cost of 54 HP on Glaive. But with no one else up close on A, it'll take the rest of the troops a while to get a rotation in. Now the MP9 of Cadian is perched up close to deliver some serious ferocity. This is where the fire rate of that MP9 could be so vitally important. Going in on Estetag, he can try and somehow escape on 7 HP. That forces Magus to respect this angle. In doing so, he gives himself up to Storm. You can see the difference that kill would have made if he finished off the frag onto Cadian. The fact that he didn't cost him his life cost Astralis the round.
Though he may not be the primary AWPer for this squad, Stavn is definitely someone that can man this gun. Interestingly, though, the second an AK is available, it's going to be dropped. Now, we saw a pistol round pause taken. What is this? I'll take S-Tag. Can I have S-Tag as the butler, valet, chef, secretary, and housekeeper? Technically,
talents to use, I see.
He can also carry me as well. I'd like to just take me through matchmaking. I'd enjoy that. It might make your online nightmare games a little bit easier, Vince. You know, I think I'm supporting you in this situation as well.
I appreciate that. What Astralis, however, will not be appreciating is that even with Essetag, who is certainly in a lot of conversations right now, they trail by 5 in our Consolidation finals, in our 3rd map, our decisive map, and Heroic 4 rounds away from securing their spot against Vitality. And all of the extra great additions that will bring. Cadian looking down, anticipating the flashbang, flicks up but misses. However, Testis will not. And even though the site has been taken, keeping players alive allows a foundation to pivot off when it comes to the post plant. Cadian keeping them busy while Nico goes down, absorbing the bulk of those bullets. But Testis is still alive after picking up the first frag, albeit on 22. So although it's looking a bit dire for Astralis, a little bit scrappy, The HP's not great, but Testis goes straight in for 2 more. He has no fear. Nobody on Astralis is being respected today from Testis. And now that 5-round lead becomes 6.
Bomb has been defused.
He's playing much more to the standard that he has been throughout the rest of the tournament. A few quieter games today, but if he comes up big in the last map, who cares? That's all that matters. Dupree, obviously, in that situation, it looks a bit silly, but he is trying to play anti-flash. So it's not quite as ridiculous as it might have seemed. Something that would also be entertaining, maybe just for me, because I'm a little bit, well, maybe sadistic's the right word, is if S-Tag top frags in the final map he plays for Astralis and they lose. Like, I don't know, I'd find that a little bit funny. Like him just piecing out going, well, I top fragged, what more do you want?
We're in that kind of territory right now, aren't we? That could actually happen. Device. Big entry onto Testis. Running over the fire and the flames. Only taking 19 damage, though. Only onto sandbags. Nobody home. Side control. Important. Flashbang. Through. Doesn't affect Nico. Now there's 2 players there, but Nico doesn't need any backup. He has this handled alone. He catapults Device out of the round, but it's all a ruse. Astralis actually looking to hit onto the B side. Stavn through the smoke, trying to do what he can, but there's a ton of flashbangs up against him, but still springs into action. 14 HP separating him and his demise. But it's in that kind of situation economically, but also health-wise, where they may try and just save instead, Tom. 2v3 with both players low, unlikely they get this done.
Yeah, this is not a winnable position. Even against teams that you don't respect, I don't think you go for this sort of round. And it's not like they need to. Like, let's be real. This isn't a clutch situation that if it changes the game completely, sure, it gives Astralis a bit more of a steady footing in the map. But at the same time, Heroic have a convincing lead. Going into the next round, they'll be able to buy. They could even go for a double-up setup if they really wanted to. So Astralis will take this one. I really like actually the play from Dupree in this round, because if you note that when he gets over the scaffolding in mid, he actually escapes while Glaive is still fighting. And rather than just sort of confirming the B-side control, he decides in this situation it's worth helping my teammate and making sure that we at least trade evenly. So sort of kept that round firmly in their favor for maybe longer than it should have been. Nonetheless, as mentioned, money-wise, Heroic are fine for now, as another round defeat would put them in slightly more awkward waters and potentially give a way for Astralis back in. But S-Tag, well, I mentioned he was top fragging. He's starting to slip. A Device has met the same fate. Nico again. That's 2 headshots through smoke to start off this round. They can't even see him, and he's getting rid of them. And I said that there's been a couple of unsung heroes, even from us. This time, they're starting to really shine as Nico closes out this round with a triple. He's getting hyped up, just 2 rounds away from eliminating their Danish counterparts, the team they're consistently compared to. The team currently holding on to maybe their #1 spot. And I dare say a win at this tournament could catapult either them or the side of Vitality to #1. It really is how the rankings are working at the moment.
Oh, it's so tight at the top. No doubt. Cadian aggression gets dealt with accordingly from Device. His opposite number rings true. Testis caught no man's land. And the machine gun fire dispatches of him. There will be no ceasefire signed today. And Astralis, hot off the back of those 2 entries, they go in for the plant. And Heroic unlikely to really give this too much thought. So Astralis are hanging by the thinnest of threads, and it is starting to unravel. But if Heroic come back into another round where they just get Nico teeing off down ramp, Astralis may not have long left in this best of 3. They may not have long left in DreamHack Open Fall.
Yeah, this has to be the start of something. That's been the main issue, really, for Astralis, is that the streaks have mainly gone in Heroic's favor, and well, we sort of saw it in the last half as well. They win the initial pistol. In fact, they actually made a nice little sandwich. They got the first 3 rounds and the last 3 rounds. And then only one in between the streak coming out of Heroic. And it's looking similar. A 5-round start, followed by back and forth rounds. Now, back and forth rounds normally favor the T side, but when you're 14-9 in the lead, it's a slightly different story. So Astralis, they need to get it rolling, Vince.
Yeah, we need consistency. If nothing else, just to break the economy of Heroic fully. Dupree didn't quite catch what happened there. I mean, it's not as if Burrup was flashed. I assume he maybe just pushed the smoke and they walked past each other within that. Curious to see a replay on that one.
No.
He's been flashed so many times and he jumps back into the flames. Oh, fully flashed. Down he goes. And Astralis, we said we needed to see consistency. Well, that seems to be what's being posted up. Cadian still stands his ground for a shot before he pieces out of there. Glaive gets caught by the off angle of Nico. He can now rummage back over onto the A side of the map where Cadian could use a hand because he's about to get pushed on by 4 Ts.
Yeah, I don't know how he gets out of this one. I almost think that this looks like a position where if he doesn't get an instant kill, he retreats. But his teammates have come in to support. It's a missed shot, and S-Tag just comes running through. Nico, he's had some pretty tasty smoke kills, but S-Tag can match him toe for toe. Stavn has no choice. It's a save. But the fact is, the save at the start of that push and the save at the end is nothing comparable. They'll take just one rifle through, and it's S-Tag again. As I sort of said at the time, when his move was announced, I was surprised. I didn't even think that offer was on the table, and while Astralis letting him go, that might be a mistake. I'll be real with you. He has been phenomenal. He's been someone who's earned the stars of Astralis, which, hey, you can't say that for many people. A few majors under their belt. 4, in fact. He has definitely been a shining star within this roster over the last few months. And he's looking to go out on a bang. Of course, a map win here will extend his Astralis tenure a little bit longer. It will take them through to the grand final, a rematch versus Vitality, who are patiently waiting to find out who they're going to face. I think they know it's going to be a tough game either way, but as of right now, sure, Heroic are probably the favored, but that doesn't mean jack.
See Cadian going in for another one of his buys, everybody else holding off with the saved M4. He got aggressive down on B. Missed his shot with a flashbang tossed in. Stavn up close has taken a lot of real estate through middle. Now Glaive knows this is a possibility. Getting tagged but staying alive. And you feel like if they were going to win off that play, it had to be an outright frag so they could pick up an AK and juggle that to one of the other players. The fact that Glaive has survived is really big for Astralis. And massive towards their comeback power.
Slow. It's methodical from Astralis. They know that this is the point where they can't make any mistakes. 15 is definitely a much more daunting task. But every round that ticks by, the #1 team in the world will gain in confidence. This round, looking over. It is a full-on stack. Some beautiful camera work coming through from the observers to paint the perfect picture. And Stavn, there's nothing he can do here. He's holding onto a rifle, and that's all he should be doing. Keep that, keep the AWP, the pistols. Can run into the... Well, if anything, I'd even like to see Burrup just save what he's got. Kevlar, kit, couple of grenades, Deagle. Might as well just hold that into the next round, but I'm sure they'd like to try and do some damage to the Astralis economy, but the fact is, you're not going to break them at this point. The only way you break them is by winning the map.
That's pretty much it. And I think it's two-pronged. It's not just the Heroic want to save what little they have, but it's also they want to have all 5 bodies bodyguarding this AWP and M4. You get more players in there. The USPs are very expendable players. Let them absorb some bullet, get to the early intel, allow Heroic to save, and now they can get a really solid buy behind this. But you're absolutely spot on, Tom. In terms of the bigger picture, economically speaking, you will not break Astralis. You will win the map before that happens. So Heroic go for 2 ops now. Cadian with the secondary. Well, the secondary picked up one alongside Stavn, who goes in the exact same position that Cadian was sat at before. Same flashbang connects. Same outcome. He has to turn tail and push back onto the site.
Yeah, the problem is this is no longer a surprise. Like, the second AWP won't be something unexpected. Nice nades coming out from Astralis. As said, they are the kings of nade stacks. Forcing these Heroic players into slightly more awkward positions and leaving dupreeh to do what dupreeh does best. Hunt headshots. And well, for now, the positioning of the CT side is actually the more interesting. The A site is somewhat abandoned. It's middle where they've actually put a couple of players patiently waiting. In fact, I say patiently waiting. They've actually taken that control. The problem is, Astralis are more than happy to rinse and repeat. They've gone back to A. They're throwing out their nades. But the bomb, Vince, has decided to go back.
Astralis, are they overthinking this? Is this a play that they will look back on post-defeat and wonder what if? 30 seconds. No real time to spare. No chances of mistakes. If they slip and slide, it's likely a capsizing ship that cannot be steered away from the rocks. It's a 1-for-1 trade early on. Post-plant comes in, but Storm connecting the shot. Can't keep himself alive.
Oh, no.
That smoke missed. Did it not extinguish underneath? I didn't see it from his perspective, but he burns alive. He pulled the smoke out. But Magiska's gone down. Maybe that slight mistake won't end up mattering, and it's Essetag, the man that is destined for Cloud9, that maybe can deliver from the heavens and open up and fire down some righteous fury upon Heroic, but it won't be happening. They have a kit, they have time, and they have 4 match points.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorist
15 to 11. As said, there's no chance for an economy break, but at the same time, 15 to 11. No more pauses as well. Oh, what? Was there a double Molotov there? Did he extinguish the second one, or is that just bad luck? I think it is a bit of both, but unfortunate for Stavn. It doesn't matter, though. Interestingly as well, technically, no matter what happens, Essetag is eliminating one of his old teams.
True. It's a morbid thought, isn't it? On his way out, he just goes for that mutually assured destruction. But Heroic have 4 cracks at straight up securing their spot in the grand finals and eliminating Astralis. Many would have been favoring Astralis to take this game. Device protruding round the corner has Storm to contend with, and he comes out second best, as does Mages. Essetag keeping the dream alive. 9 HP, but his teammates are falling around him like flies, and now it's all on Glaive. He has the bomb, and he's rushing straight towards the B site. But Cadian is laid here in wait. Gets smoked off. Hasn't pulled the trigger on the AWP just yet. And Glaive is putting himself into the chance at a post plant, but it gets taken away. And Cadian is loving it. They've secured their spot against Vitality.
The stars have fallen from the sky, and it's the heroes who rise to take themselves through to the grand final. It is a huge achievement for the side of Heroic. They have beaten their Danish counterparts once again. And it isn't going to be a repeat match from what we saw previously in the tournament. It is going to be the Frenchmen facing off against a different Danish side. Heroic, they are the victors, and they get the spoils. The question is, does that mean after tomorrow, we have a new #1 in the world?
It very well might.
A Danish derby that delivered on every single level. We come full circle to the familiar grounds of Vertigo, but this time, Heroic rewrite history. Cadian's men blow Astralis into oblivion. They prove the superior Danish side, and with that, catapult themselves straight to the grand finals tomorrow. Blair and Maui join me to dissect exactly how that happened. And Blair, Heroic continue to impress against the toughest of competition here at Open for a thoroughly well-deserved spot in the finals tomorrow.
Absolutely. Going into Vertigo, they were playing almost unchained. And you can see, right, if you look at all the 3 games we've seen so far, even though Inferno was kind of like a little bit more one-sided, these teams know each other so well. And I feel like this is a rivalry. This is going to be one of the most exciting rivalries we're going to be seeing for at least the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and a rivalry it was indeed, Maui, because that first half, it actually ended up being quite a close one, considering that Heroic had such a lead initially.
Yeah, Heroic had a really good grasp of what they were doing there on their initial T side, but Astralis, being Astralis, just made the right adjustment. They pulled back and realized that Tessus was just kind of owning them there at that A ramp, that they probably should just play back into the bomb side a little bit more. Good stuff from them, but overall, excellent CT side from Heroic there to close things out at the end of the day. Players who really weren't showing up earlier in the series did on that map. This is for the entire series, the scoreline here, but Nico and Cadian really popped off at the end of that game.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to highlight that as a theme, Blair, because we were saying, last time these 2 teams faced, it was really Cadian that was coming into his own form. The other team members weren't pulling off such crazy plays as we saw Cadian playing. But now everybody is stepping up to the plate. And that really was a win condition for us coming into the series.
Oh, absolutely. And more importantly for me, considering young Stavn, I just did the math. He had 135 frags today over 2 series. That is... Listen, that's a lot of kills, man. And in the end, when this matchup, I think he got only 11 kills, but every single one else stepped up. He had 11 kills of going 11 and 17, but then Nico, Cadian, Tessus, Borup, all having the moments. Even Borup, who we were a little critical of. He made a few mistakes there in the first 2 maps, but then he really delivered here. So a fitting end, they get the revenge in the end, and even more fittingly that it does wind up with a win on Vertigo.
Yeah, and I wanted to highlight Borup just very briefly there, Maui. Obviously, we see him not topping the scoreboard in terms of the end of that map here, but in that first half, he had a really instrumental impact.
Yeah, definitely. Borup with +4 in first kill differential. Really good stuff on both sides of the map, I would say. His roles aren't always the flashiest. He doesn't always get the most help at times, but when he does well, you can assume that Heroic is probably going to be taking the game because it's always these tough spots, always those anchor positions. Playing B on Vertigo, for example, is a role that sometimes is pretty thankless because a lot of the action doesn't go in that area, but at the end of the day, he did his job and he succeeded at that.
And speaking of that CT side that we saw closing it out there, Blair, I mean, it wouldn't have been a surprise if we saw it getting a lot closer, considering the scoreline the last time these 2 teams played. But where was it from Heroic that you really saw them stepping up to the plate here this time?
I think Nico has to be instrumental, right? He went 12-6 when it comes to kill and death on that CD side. He was very instrumental, like you pointed out as well. Apart from that, like everyone, honestly, it just seemed to be they had this kind of like pack mentality, and they didn't overextend a little bit too much. Sure, there were a few rounds Astralis were able to kind of get back, but that didn't get to them, right? And for a team, such a young team, again, bear in mind, Heroic are a very young team playing against Astralis, who have multiple majors, perhaps the most successful team in the entire Counter-Strike franchise in one of the most important games of their lives. They held on to the lead, didn't allow Astralis back into the game, and just overall, a lot of mental fortitude coming out from this young team. They're looking like one of the best teams of 2020 right now.
Yeah, they really are. And I think something that we've also got to highlight, just doing a comparison again to that first map that we saw of the group stage for Astralis versus Heroic, it was really Dupree coming out in full force over that series. And it feels like Heroic they did silence them on this, or him rather, on this final map of the series. Did you kind of notice that at any point there, Maui?
Yeah, definitely. It felt like a lot of this game was determined off of kind of sprays through smoke, or Vertigo at least. A lot of it was catching Dupree off. Those sprays through smoke, especially towards the A ramp, were not going in his favor at all. And throughout the entire series, I really did expect Dupree to pop off just a little bit more because his form was at such a high level for this tournament. But this series just really wasn't his. 0.94 rating, it's not really bad by any means, but to the standard that we've been holding him to throughout this tournament, it is a little bit beneath our expectations.
Well, of course, it is time to check in with one of the players from the winning side. And of course, it has to be Stavn after that incredible performance. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Congratulations on that win. Can you tell me how yourself and the team are feeling to not only have taken down one of your regional rivals, but to be making it to the grand finals here?
I mean, it's just really amazing. Like the last tournament we played, what was it again? I can't really remember the tournament, but Astralis did the exactly. Sorry, and Astralis did the exact same lower bracket one as we did right now. But that was all we like really wanted to get like revenge all the time. It's just really amazing, and we were all like really hyped after TeamSpeak after winning that game. It's just really amazing feeling.
It's awesome. We saw Cadian getting out his air horn as well. I'm sure that gave you a few frights there in your team's server. But I do want to go back just quickly and talk about Nuke, because we heard it from yourself just before we came into the game. You were really focusing on keeping those comms really clean and really calm. So going into that OT, considering that, you know, you went to 4 OTs against Astralis, albeit on a different map before, as we saw in the group stage, was it that a real key focus in terms of closing out that overtime, just kind of keeping calm and collected?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our T side could have been better, but we were honestly all believing that 5 rounds was enough for us to still beat them. Because last time we played them on Nuke, we won 11-4 as CT, and almost the exact same thing happened again. Like they even won the pistol and were leading 13-5. I mean, we just played a really good CT and had good rotations, and it was really good CS from us.
It was absolutely fantastic to see. Maui, I know you had a couple of questions you wanted to ask.
Yeah, Stavn, okay, I've got to say, you've had a crazy day. I mean, it's been so long and everything. We know, this is so jokey, but it doesn't, I'm going to do it anyways. Okay, how many cokes have you gone through today? First of all, because we just keep seeing...
Let me think. Yeah. I have like, I'm starting with 1 for each game, so I had like... I think I've had 3 actually. I think like only 3. Maybe it seems like more because, but it's the same bottle.
All right. Well, whatever it takes to get you through it all, because your performance today was absolutely astounding, and whatever this has been a long day, so pick your poison and stick to it, man. You've been awesome.
Thank you very much.
Stavn, my question would be, what's coming up next? You're facing Vitality again in a grand finals. And the last time you guys did face off against them, if I'm not mistaken, was ESL1 Cologne, where you guys beat them. So what are your thoughts about it? They're looking very good right now. Obviously, this was a while ago. This was back in August. So I know it's a little early to ask, considering you guys are probably feeling really high right now with this win over Astralis. But what's kind of your mental, your attitude, so to speak, coming into this finals?
I think we all have like good expectations going into the final. I think we have the upper hand, like when we won 3-0 against them last time we played. Like I think we're all feeling really confident going into the best of 5, and they have map advantage, I believe, so that obviously sucks, but I'm sure we're all feeling very confident going into this final tomorrow.
All right.
I'm so excited to see what you guys will be bringing. Congratulations again, Stavn, and go off and celebrate that win this evening.
Thank you very much.
Always fantastic to get to check in with the man himself. And with that, I believe we can have a quick recap of our current playoff bracket, see exactly how it has been playing out here today. Of course, our second game of the day was for those placement points, but now we can take a look and see how Heroic have shaken up the tables there. Of course, as he just said, Blair, taking that lower bracket run, an absolute run of the gauntlet, and they're going to be facing Vitality tomorrow. I am so hyped to see that.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to maybe, I don't know if Stavn's probably watching the stream right now, but just to correct him, Vitality do not have a map advantage.
Yes. Heading
into the best of 5 tomorrow, right? So it's going to be starting from 0. I'm not too sure. I do believe they might get first ban or first pick or whatever, but still, without that advantage, Heroic, even though they're coming from the lower bracket, they're going to be hyped and ready, man. This run from Heroic has been absolutely fantastic. But then again, you can't take anything away from the Frenchmen. They have looked the best team by far so far. So I know it's funny to say that, we usually say Astralis are the final boss, but maybe we have a new final boss in the form of the French.
It's going to be super exciting to see exactly what goes down. But what's also exciting is reliving some of our highlights today. Of course, we've got our top 5 plays of the day. So Blair, do you want to start us off with this one?
Yeah, I'll start it off. We, of course, had a day, some crazy action. But starting off, it is, of course, going to be Broland 4K on the Force by Mac 10, just just running and gunning and getting all the kills, along with a really nice 2K with the Deagles as well. This guy's so good, isn't he?
Oh, so snappy. These shots are at the end are just perfect. That one on Xantares is Xantares' aim against Xantares. So this one, number 4, it's going to be devised with 3 consecutive no scopes, one of which was a headshot. But oh my gosh, he just shot Borup right in the love handles right there. Just barely saw him. And man, this is just, you don't see this in many pro games of Counter-Strike, just being fed like this. And Device, he ate them up.
Instant liposuction coming in from Device there, and then here we have Borup with the USP. It's like a turret. He's spinning around every single angle, and he's just shutting down at this hit coming in from Nip. Nip, they had a great run overall, but then, yeah, they met the match in the form of Heroic, and Borup showing what he can do with the USP.
Yeah, here we are at number 2. Hampus with the ace with the MP9 of all guns. Actually wins the 1v2 with this one. And this was against a fully equipped Heroic, so very important round for him. It's interesting he started with the M4 right there and just said, you know what, I like the fire rate a little bit more of the MP9, and it is quite good, so I can't blame him there.
And this is one thing we missed on the A stream. It was Mantu with the AWP, the collateral, the wall bang, and of course, finishes it off with the ace. I'm kind of sad we didn't get to catch us on the A stream, but it was OG on the B stream playing for the placement points. You'd love to see an op ace, especially on Inferno. It's a classic.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible to witness. And for them to be winning the map as well, no less than beautiful stuff there from Mantu. And I think with that, we can crown our DTS player of the day as well. I think, Maui, there is only one deserving winner today. I'm going to give you the honor of announcing who it is.
Yeah, it's going to be Stavn, the man that drinks a Coca-Cola at the start of every single map. So good stuff from him, and don't be
135.
I'm just unbelievable, but don't be afraid to replace those Coca-Colas with Monster, of course, one of the sponsors here. But no, he's been just excellent for this Heroic side, and really without him, I do not see a world in which they would have gone this far in the tournament. This guy has been absolutely astounding. This hold at First Oranges was unbelievable, and he's just been popping heads the entire day.
It's been absolutely incredible to see his progression as a player as well. And I mean, the team as a whole, Blair, you know, we were coming into this tournament, we were saying if we want to be seeing them stepping up, it can't just be Cadians doing so. And every single player have had their moments from this Heroic side. So I cannot wait to see what they're going to be bringing tomorrow for the grand final.
Absolutely. I mean, even when you go back to the beginning of the series, right? Let's be real. Even though I said Heroic were my pick to win, honestly, I felt Astralis was going to take the series. It is Astralis after all, but Heroic, they keep on surprising us over and over again. And then we talk about Vitality. They're also a team who are not going to be shy from, you know, mounting the comeback, the way they got battered by Astralis on Nuke, and then the way they won the final 2 maps to be in the grand final. So I feel like it's going to be very exciting. 2 teams who look like they want to be the kings of Counter-Strike, at least in Europe right now. So it's going to be one hell of a game tomorrow.
It is going to be a spicy one indeed. I cannot wait to be delving into it. But I think with that, all there is left to say is bidding farewell to you guys. And unfortunately, Maui, this is your last guest segment with us. So have you had fun this week at DreamHack Open 4?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been powered by Monster this entire time. I got a bunch behind me, but Monster sent me like 160 cans or something like that. I've gone through at least half on this broadcast, so yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy for me right now. I'm hyped up. I'm jacked up. I'm peaking right now. Actually, I'm going crazy. I'm like shaking actually, but it's a good feeling. It's a good time.
We've had some incredible Monster reviews as well in the green room. So I don't know, maybe you can make some little videos, post them on socials, like giving your advice to people looking for those new Monster flavors as well. And of course, big shout out to our sponsors, that being Monster Energy, DTS, MSI, Corsair, and Intel. Thank you so much for joining us here for DreamHack Open.
Which one's that?
Of course. Oh yeah, give us a review.
This is the best one. This is the shout out to the green tea. Whatever. If you guys aren't really fans of energy drinks,
Green tea Monster,
this one is definitely the best in that you feel like you're drinking tea. There's only 8 grams of sugar, but it's got good tea flavor. Overall, excellent beverage. Still got the caffeine, the kick of a normal Monster. That's my shout out. Sell out, Maui.
you're really good at this, Maui. You're really good at this.
Well,
I want them to send me more. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need any more Maui. You're going at 100 miles an hour right now. I don't think you need any more of that. But it's been an absolute pleasure to be having you up here on the desk. Of course, Blair and Pods are going to be joining me tomorrow for that grand final matchup. That'll be kicking off at 6 p.m. Europe time. Don't forget, guys, if you're in Europe, the clocks go back an hour tonight. So you get an extra hour of sleep as well, which is another bonus. But of course, make sure you are joining us tomorrow. It's going to be Vitality taking on Heroic in a showdown for the ages. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you tomorrow.
You gotta go and see it. Never leave it and achieve it.
want no interference.